All right, let's talk about turning your company's most static and, let's be honest, kind of boring documents, think user manuals, brochures, and especially those FAQ pages that nobody really likes to read, into a smart, dynamic conversation. Let's see how it's done.
We have all been there. You have a pretty simple question, you head over to a company's FAQ page, and you're just hit with a wall of text. You try the search bar, and it gives you either nothing or like 10 articles that have nothing to do with your problem. It's a dead end because it's static. It can't understand context. It's basically a library where the librarian is on a permanent coffee break.
So, what's the fix? Well, what if we could take that same information and feed it to a bot that actually understands what you're asking in your own words? That's the big idea here, to move away from simple keyword matching and into a genuinely intelligent conversation.
Okay, so first up, let's break down the core technology behind all this and what it's really designed to accomplish.
The heart of this whole thing is a service called question answering. It's part of Azure AI language, and it lets you build what's called a knowledge base. You can think of it as a smart brain that you fill with question and answer pairs. The real magic, though, is that your apps and bots can then tap into this brain using normal, everyday language.
And you know what the best part is? Getting started is surprisingly easy. You don't have to create this knowledge base from scratch. You can literally just point the service at your existing FAQ web pages or upload files like user guides. You can even add some pre-built chit-chat data so your bot can handle things like hello and thank you and have a little personality. Now, this next part is really important because it's a distinction that can trip people up. The difference between just answering a question and actually understanding a command. Here's the difference in a nutshell. Question answering is for when a user asks something like, "What are your business hours?" and they expect a direct answer from that knowledge base we just talked about. Language understanding is different. That's for when a user gives a command, like book me a flight to Seattle. Its job isn't to find an answer, it's to figure out the user's intent, to book a flight, and the key details, or entities, like Seattle. They can work together, for sure, but they solve two different problems. Okay, with that cleared up, let's get practical. How do you actually go about building one of these knowledge bases? The main tool you'll be using is called Language Studio, and it makes the whole process really straightforward. First, you create the resources you need in Azure. Then, inside your new project, you just start adding your data sources, pointing it to those URLs and files. The final step is where you really make it shine. You can go in and edit, tweak, and add to the question and answer pairs that it automatically pulled out for you. Look, a bot that can answer a simple question is great, but what happens when a question is a bit ambiguous? This is where the conversation gets truly smart. There's a key feature here called a multi-turn conversation. Instead of just firing back a single answer and calling it a day, the bot can ask clarifying follow-up questions to figure out what the user really needs. This is an absolute game changer for the user experience because it feels so much more human. It helps prevent frustration and gets people to the right answer way faster. For example, imagine a user asks a perfectly normal question. How can I cancel my reservation? Now, that seems simple enough, but think about it. What kind of reservation? Is it for a flight, a hotel, a rental car? So instead of guessing and probably getting it wrong, the bot does this. It recognizes the ambiguity and it presents options. It doesn't just give an answer, it guides the user to the right answer. Now the user can just choose flight or hotel and get the specific info they were looking for all along. So, your smart knowledge base is built and ready to go. The next step is to get it live, and more importantly, start making it even better over time. Once you're happy with how it's performing, you just hit deploy. What this does is it publishes your knowledge base and gives it a unique web address, what we call a REST endpoint. From that point on, any of your apps or bots can just send questions to that address to get answers back. Simple as that. When your app calls that endpoint, you have a few ways to control the response. Of course, you send the question, but you can also specify the top number of answers to get back. You can also set a score threshold, which is kind of like a confidence filter. You're basically telling the bot, hey, only give me answers that you're at least, say, 20% sure about. But here's the real magic. The system doesn't just stay the same after you deploy it. It uses a really cool process called active learning to get smarter all on its own. As real users start asking questions in thousands of different ways, the system notices when different queries all seem to be leading to the same answer.
It then packages these up as suggestions for alternate phrasings. All you have to do is review and accept them, and just like that, you're continuously improving the bot's ability to understand how real people talk.
And finally, you can also give your bot a boost by defining synonyms. This is perfect for industry jargon or just common variations. If your customers might say booking instead of reservation, you can just tell the system those two words mean the same thing. This makes your whole knowledge base way more robust and forgiving. So let's wrap it all up. The key takeaway here is pretty clear. You can take existing static documents and transform them into a really interactive bot. The process itself is guided and made pretty simple through Language Studio. You can handle those tricky, complex queries using multi-turn conversations. And maybe the best part of all is that your bot can continuously improve its intelligence over time with active learning and synonyms. So this all leaves us with one big question to think about for your own work. What knowledge is just sitting there, locked away on a static page, just waiting to be unlocked and turned into a really helpful conversation? Thanks for watching.